Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
Conas atá tú agus is mise Níl Bhuileán. I don't know where the Neil came from, by the way. I got that in school. They used to call me Neil, and I used to go, "Sure, my name is not Neil, it's Niall. Please stop translating it into Irish. It doesn't translate." Why do they always do that in Irish? Anyway, the reason I'm speaking Irish, of course, is a bit later on. Our interview is going to be with Molly Gaidra, who is, she wants to talk about the Irish language, but not only that, there's a story in relation to signs or road signs in Donegal has all gone viral, and they're suggesting that road signs in Ireland should be primarily in Irish, in the Irish language, and only have a small English translation underneath instead of the other way around, which they are at the moment. Now, I don't know. I understand how important the Irish language is to people, but let's not confuse the tourists completely. You know what I mean? So like a tourist comes to Ireland and they're driving in their rented car across Ireland and they see Galway, and they're going, well, that's not where we're going to Galway. You know what I mean? So, we think they're going to the wrong place. It sounds like a place in Lilliput, to be honest with you, Galway. Where you going? The people of Galway. Anyway, but should we improve our... Look, I think it's a kind of romantic idea that we all get as we get older, that we should have learned Irish, and we probably should be speaking Irish. Also, an interesting dilemma. My brother's partner is sleeping with someone at work. What should I do? What should he do? He should do a lot, is what he should do. Give her the door is what he should do. Anyway, look, we'll talk about that later on. But first, there's a lot to talk about in relation to general elections, by the way, but that's all coming soon. Mark my words. The general election, people keep asking me all the time, Niall, when is the general election coming and are you running in the general election, right? So let me just name my colours to the mast, because even the journal.ie the other day ran a story with Independent Ireland, a picture of me in the middle with my sunglasses. I look cool, in fairness, I do. I look good. But I am not running with Independent Ireland or in the general election. And I made that decision for a multiple of reasons. Firstly, it's too expensive, and I can't afford to lose money again, because it put me in a very difficult situation for a period of a few months. Obviously, because I can't work at the same time because of the job that I have. Other people can. See, if you're running as an independent candidate, you own a shop, or you have an accountancy firm, or you can still do your job. But because I work in media, under the broadcasting regulations, I can't work. Well, I could do a gardening show probably or something like that, as long as it had nothing to do with politics, technically. But I can't actually work because and I understand the logic behind that, the reasoning behind that. The reasoning is I could give myself an unfair advantage, which is all right, isn't it? Anyway, that's one reason. And the other reason, I'm going to be totally honest, I've lost faith in the electorate. I actually lost faith in the electorate during the European elections. I'm really proud of what I did during the European elections for somebody historically who never ran for election in his life. And in the first time out, I nearly got a seat. And I got more votes than the Social Democrats, more votes than People Before Profit, more votes than Aontú, more votes than most of the other parties, actually, nearly them all, with the exception of the main three. And what we did, essentially, in the European elections, everybody said they wanted change, something different. And I was offering that difference, I believe. And what happened was we sent the same four parties back to Europe again. And where are they now? Have you heard anything from them? Nope. Not a thing. All the European candidates that all went back over to Europe, couldn't get them off the television and the radio and before the elections, and now we don't hear anything from them because they're too busy eating out and shopping in Brussels. But they're not actually doing anything for the Irish people as far as I'm concerned. So that disappointed me greatly, that many people, like my father, and I said it on RT at the time, on prime time on the night of the count, my father, Fianna Fáil could blow up the country tomorrow. My father would have voted for Fianna Fáil. It's just in them, isn't it? And I don't think it's going to change. And sadly, or happily, depending on who you want me to be voting for this time around, I'm pretty sure in the next election, the government will get back in again, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, maybe not the Greens, because I kind of kicked them out of the European Union, didn't I? Which was an achievement of mine, by the way, to keep the Greens out. But probably Labour. Yeah, I think they've got one TD or something. They'll probably get in with government, I don't know, and one or two independents. And I just think it's going to be 5 more years of the same. So for that reason, and I don't think as an independent I would have too much power. For that reason, I didn't think it would be my place or my purpose in life to do that. I thought I would have had a bit more power in Europe, because when I say power, I'm not a power freak or anything like that, but it just would have gave me a bigger platform. Because you know me, I like a platform. I like to be able to tell people how I feel. And not that I could have done too much about many things, because European laws, are brought in by a parliament, of course. We only get to vote on changes in those laws. But in saying that, I could have made a lot of noise and embarrassed the Irish government into how they're running this country. But look, I never got around to doing it. And I don't regret it, by the way. It's the one thing, because if I didn't run for the European elections, I would have regretted it. I'd be sitting there going, what if I had of? So, well, look, I won't be. But then again, President Boylan does have a ring to it for next year, doesn't it? Anyway, the first thing I do want to talk about is cannabis. Now, we had a conversation going back about 2 or 3 weeks ago on a new health-based approach or decriminalisation of Class A drugs. And that went pretty well, but it was pretty unanimous. And the majority of you didn't agree with the legalisation, decriminalisation or health-based approach to Class A drugs. But tonight I want to address cannabis and whether or not we should legalise it for recreational purposes, because during that conversation we had 2 weeks ago, many people said, oh, well, I wouldn't mind cannabis now, but no, not for the rest. It is currently legal in this country on a case-by-case basis for medicinal reasons. So that means that it is an offence to cultivate, import, export, produce, supply and possess cannabis, except in accordance with a ministerial licence. Now, I can see both sides of this. In one respect, the argument is that cannabis is the safest drug you can take, but it can equally act as a gateway to more dangerous drugs. It does have its side effects, paranoia, all those psychosis, all those kind of things. People have died taking cannabis or using cannabis. And then, of course, you got the importation of illegal drugs, which means anything can be mixed with it. The benefits to those with health concerns have been proven, and that's why it can be obtained on a case-by-case basis. Now, I'm not going to get into some sort of conspiracy theory that it cures cancer or anything like that, because it certainly doesn't, because people go on as if it does. It doesn't cure anything as far as I'm aware, but what it does do is alleviate the symptoms from many diseases, and it alleviates the symptoms of pain. But research in America has shown that there's a surge in seniors hooked on weed, and that there are health complications as a result, with 42% increase of heart attack and stroke being reported in some studies. Now, I think the benefits of legislation would mean far less resources being drained to police the illegal trade of cannabis. There are definitely arguments for and against it, but I want to hear your opinions tonight. Should we legalise cannabis, not just for medicinal purposes? I think everybody would be in agreement for medicinal purposes, absolutely. But should we legalise it for recreational purposes, i.e. like Amsterdam? I.e. you can walk around, and I suppose the law would suggest that you could have enough for personal use. Walk around with a 10 or 20 spot or whatever it is you put in your pocket. And also the law would pertain to having enough cannabis, or you could grow 4 plants. Isn't that what they said before in the suggestion? That you could grow 4 your own plants. Up to 4. Anything more than that's a factory. So would you agree with the legalisation of cannabis for recreational purposes? Or are you one of those people who thinks, no, look, we've already got one legal drug in this country, alcohol, and look at the problems that causes. We really don't need another problem. Let me know what you think. The number is 087 188 0008. Let me go to Jason. Jason, hi, how are you?
Good evening, Niall. How are you?
Good, Jason. Now, Jason, cannabis, it is different to Class A drugs, obviously. Very different.
Yes.
But should we legalise it?
Why not? Tell me the harms. And nobody's ever OD'd from smoking cannabis.
Well, they have, actually.
Cannabis,
I looked this up. Somebody said this
OD'd.
before. Somebody has died. There have been people that have died from smoking too much.
They've not OD'd. Niall, you could smoke it from now till the cows come home. You won't OD.
Oh, you'll probably pass out before you OD. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, cigarettes will kill you before the weed will. There's no carcinogenics in weed.
Would you
weed
stop?
is a plant. Weed is a plant. There's no carcinogenics.
But you're inhaling. Now, hold on for a second. You're inhaling smoke, Jason. Of course it's dangerous. It's not good for your health.
There's no carcinogenics in weed.
You're inhaling smoke into your lungs. You're inhaling smoke into your lungs. It is not good for your health.
Come here, nothing's good for your health anymore. I mean, too much of anything is bad for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to start with drug dealers, I'd start with the big pharmaceutical companies who are pumping drugs into people left, right and centre with a licence. They've no interest in ever curing anybody, because if they cure you, there's no customer gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we live in a society now where we pump hormones into kids so they can change their sex. I can go into a pub, I can drink as much as I want, fall out, puke all over the place, cause ructions in A&E. Not a bother there. But if I smoke a joint, I'll go to jail, I'll get a criminal record, and I'll never be able to do anything again.
But here's the thing. You just said it yourself. So we have a country where people pump God knows how much alcohol into themselves, fall out.
But that's
and end
all
up,
legal. And that's all
absolutely, absolutely. But do we want another drug? Do we want another drug?
When have you ever seen two people stoned standing outside A&E boxing their head off each other, puking and pissing on themselves? Like, come on, you know yourself, buddy.
No, you normally find them at the 20. No, you normally find them at the 24 garage looking for a packet of Monster Munch.
Wondering what to get, wondering what to eat. There's your life. But no, you know what I mean? I mean, we're all European style. I could go anywhere in Europe now and go into cafes and smoke it legally. There's no problems there.
Yeah, you could, but mind you, but hey, you can go to Portugal, by the way, and you can walk around with cocaine and heroin in your pocket as well. But that doesn't mean we should do it here.
I'm not that liberal, no, for God's sake. One step at a time with me, pal. One step at a time. But no, I mean, we seem to take all the bad laws from Europe, but we don't take all the good stuff. We don't take the cheap mortgages, the cheap.
But but you're telling me it's a good law. I don't know whether it's a good law or not. You know, there is, like, for example, Jason, there is evidence, and hear me out, that, you know, cannabis can be a gateway drug to other drugs.
Alcohol is the number one gateway drug. I never smoked anything, not even a cigarette, till I drank my first can at 14 years of age.
There's also evidence out there that it causes psychosis, paranoia. And it can. There's also evidence out there that kids who smoke cannabis, for example, at the age of 20 or whatever, drop out of college quicker than kids that don't. You know what I mean?
I'm over 30 years smoking cannabis.
I'm just telling you I'm telling you the bad stuff. I'm telling you the bad stuff.
I can show you loads of good where people actually haven't changed. It's just something they do. It's a recreational thing at the end of the evening. Nobody would bat an eyelid if I went home and opened a bottle of wine every night. Nobody about, and you know, drink makes people fall over, fall asleep. Weed doesn't have the same effect on people as what alcohol does. I just think now, I mean, in the age we're living now, I mean, the evidence is out there. There's good and bad in everything. But why persecute somebody for something that's natural? It grows in the ground. You don't even need anything to do it. All you need is a window, a bit of sunlight, a bit of muck, and to see it.
And would you, if they legalised it, would you grow your own plants?
Yeah. You know, I would. I've spoken to you about what I do, and anyway, I don't buy off street dealers. I'm too old in the tooth for that. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why a lot of governments are pushing back at it, because anybody can grow it, and they won't make a penny out of it. I mean, okay, if you want to go down the financial side, let's tax it.
But is it easy? But hang on, pardon my ignorance. But is it easy to grow? Do you not have to have loads of lights and tin foil and?
If you want, Niall, to be honest, if you want, or you can buy a little tent, stick it in a special little tent online. You stick it in the corner of your house. You plug it in, and does it all for you. So you don't need this big operation where you to take over a whole house. If I'm just growing 4 plants for myself, I can go online now. I can buy a specially designed tent that you open it up, you stick everything in it, and you zip it up. There's no smell, nothing comes in and out, and you leave it in the corner of your room, and it just grows away. That's how easy it is, Niall. You know what I mean? There's no big illicit thing. I'm not enslaving people to, you know what I mean, to do.
And then what do you do with it then? Once you grow it, what, you just snip it off, roll it up in your cigarette, and smoke away?
No, obviously. Well, you have to cure it. You mean you have
cure
to
it? So dry it out? Yeah, okay.
You have to dry it out. You know what I mean? It takes a couple of weeks. But yeah, basically that's it. And when it's all cured out and nice and dry, you just grind it up and stick it away and smoke it away, put it in your bong.
And what does it do? What does it do for you, Jason? What does it do?
To be honest, it relaxes you at the end of the night.
Okay.
There you go. It's like somebody having a few points. You say, why are you having a few drinks after work? To unwind.
Right.
But my way of unwinding would be to sit down, stick a boring documentary on and have 1 or 2 smokes. Boom. To be honest with you, Niall, it saves me taking a lot of tablets. Saves me taking a lot of painkillers from me back, from me knees, from what I've been doing.
I've got this image of you and Lorraine now getting a fit of the giggles at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Lorraine doesn't do it. Jesus, Lorraine doesn't touch that. No, she does not.
Oh, jeez, no, she's too sensitive.
I have to go out the fucking back. But come here, Niall, in all fairness though, if I was to go on all the tablets the doctor wants me on, I'd be spending a fortune. And as Lorraine will tell you, I haven't been in a doctor's in years. I don't get sick. I don't get flu.
Yeah, but don't try and credit cannabis for that.
I'm not saying it's that. But I know people that take a lot of tablets for their backs, for their things. They're constantly in and out of the doctors. They can't go to the toilet. They're constantly sick. They're constantly in pain.
I know cannabis is good for pain. I know people who have seizures, for example, swear by it.
Yep,
you know what I mean? That it does help. That's right. No, I know all the evidence is there in relation to that. Now, there's other people make wild claims like it cures cancer and all that. No, it doesn't.
No, I'm not going to make them claims. But we do know now there's evidence coming out that with seizures, that lady in Cork has been fighting for years for her daughter. She went from having dozens of seizures a day. I think she's nearly seizure-free at this stage. Which is
I haven't spoken to her in quite some time, but I know the woman you're talking about. She used to come on the show quite regularly, actually. But yeah, no, I understand the pros. Yeah. But now I want to go back to the cons. And the cons are we're legalising another drug. Do we really need, in society at the moment where the vast majority of our problems, that petty crime, particularly around the city, come from either drink or drugs, do we really need another drug in society?
It wouldn't be weird the petty crimes are coming from. It wouldn't be, Niall. I'd go for the alcohol. And then I'd start asking these pharmaceuticals first what they're pumping into people. We all know about the opioid addiction that they pump into people. So let's start with them. Why start with a little plant that grows in the ground? It's the most natural thing. It's around on the planet longer than probably we are. I mean, it's not chemically grown at all.
With the greatest respect, Jason, nearly every pharmaceutical drug comes from the ground as well, comes from a plant in the ground.
But look at the chemicals they induce in it. If you grow your
those
plant,
chemicals come from the ground.
In it.
Nearly all those chemicals come from the ground.
Yeah, but when you mix them together, come on, Noel, you know yourself. Weed is a natural grown plant. One seed, sun and water. That's it. You can't get any more natural than that.
Okay, we'll stay there for a second. Let me go to Helen. Helen, hi, how are you?
Hi, President Niall Boylan. How are you?
President Niall Boylan.
I had to say, give you a full title.
I don't know how he sounds evil. I don't know what it is, but she sounds like the evil villain.
We have to have a laugh. Well, you know, I must say I agree with Trev there. Only on the news last night they were saying that they're bringing out, I think it's 26 new tablets, new medication next year, and they're working on them, you know, they're putting people on trial runs and this, that and the other. And to be honest with you, cannabis is legalised in a lot of countries in Europe, as you know. And all those countries, they don't have anything like rights or fighting on the streets or like
that wouldn't be it. Yeah, no, hold on. If we legalise cannabis tomorrow, the fights in the streets are not going to stop.
They're relaxed. People are relaxed.
We're not all going to be stoned out of our heads that we wouldn't be fighting. There'll still be fights on the streets, Helen. People fight on the streets because they're drinking alcohol, usually.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if I had a choice, no, I don't drink actually, but if I had a choice between alcohol and cannabis, I would actually go for cannabis because I see what alcohol do to people.
And Helen, do you smoke the odd joint yourself?
Cannabis? No, not yet. Don't tip me. I'm off to Tenerife in the morning for a week's holidays.
Right. Well, you enjoy that, Helen, and I hope you have a good time in Tenerife. But Helen, here's the danger. What we're doing is we're telling the young people of Ireland as they're growing up now, here's another legal drug. Here's a green light for cannabis. Something we've told them has been illegal up to now. Is that not a problem, no?
Well, to me, to be totally honest, Niall, my son-in-law got addicted to cocaine.
I'm sorry to hear that.
There was so many families, including me, and I'm separated from my husband in my own house. There were so many families threatened to be targeted because he owed thousands. And I mean thousands.
Gosh, yeah.
So if you ask me between a drug of choice, what should be taken away, I would certainly say cocaine and heroin should be gone.
Yeah.
And be replaced by cannabis.
Yeah, it'd be great if all those people just smoke cannabis instead of taking cocaine. By the way, Jason, in relation to the cost of cannabis, I couldn't tell you what the cost. So how much does it cost if you're smoking? I don't know. What do you smoke? 2 joints a night? 3 joints? What are you smoking?
It depends, Doyle. It really depends, honestly.
So how much do you spend? How much do you spend a week on cannabis?
Me, very little, as I said. You know, I told you before. I sort of grown me own a bit.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Right. Like
well, how much would a person spend?
Everybody's different. You ask somebody who drinks, how much do you spend on drink a week? And then ask the next person how much he spends.
No, but I'm just trying to get a handle on how much it costs.
Well, everybody's different in the prices. Some people charge say 20 quid a gram. Some people charge 15 quid a gram. Some people, it depends. It really depends, Niall. You know what I mean? I don't really want to go into that end of it because people that call, I only pay 10 quid a gram. If I say it's 20 quid, somebody calls, he's talking shit because I only pay 10 quid a gram. Yeah. So it depends on who you go to, who you know, who you buy.
And is it easily accessible? Like if I wanted to walk out of the studio here now and get cannabis, could I just walk down to the boardwalk and meet somebody who's selling it?
No, you have a cop or look ahead of you.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, nobody would sell it to you. But no, you know, put it this way: if you don't associate with people that smoke cannabis, you'd probably find it hard to get cannabis because you wouldn't know who to ask. But somebody who's around people who smoke cannabis, we all know where to get it. It is easy to get. It's really, really easy. But like that, they don't sell it in stalls at the side of the road, or you can't walk into a building. You have to know somebody. So therefore, people who actually do need it for medicinal purposes that haven't got the licenses yet have to go around and knock on what you would call shady doors. So is it fair to criminalise somebody who is taking it for medicinal purposes?
Yeah, well, no, I don't disagree with people who need it for medicinal purposes. I certainly don't disagree with that. But stay there, Jason. Let me go to Jessica.
I wouldn't get it. Sorry, Niall. I wouldn't get it because I suffer with me back. I can take loads and loads of fucking painkillers, so I wouldn't get it on the things. But I find it is the only thing that really does sort me out. I mean, when I was taking tablets, I couldn't. No, I'm not going to be. I don't want to be real here. I couldn't go to the toilet now. Right. It clogged me up. I was in more pain from taking the tablets. I was sick. I was druggy. I was. I'll tell you, I was narky. I didn't want to spend time with the kids. Because that's what the tablets are doing, and I shouldn't have been working.
Yeah, no, I know medication can have a serious effect on people, and you are right, by the way. There are many prescription medications out there that are a lot worse than cannabis. And actually, only over the weekend, I was reading about another popular brand of, I think it's an antidepressant of some description, that they want to take off the market because so many people have actually died from it.
More people commit suicide from that now than cannabis.
Yeah, so hold on. Jessica, hi, how are you?
Evening.
Jessica, I know, look, some people say it's a gateway drug to other drugs, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, really, do we need to legalise another drug? Is it a good idea to legalise cannabis?
Well, the way I see it is, if you're lining up all your drugs, you know, your cannabis, your coke, your heroin, your opium, if you line them all up, I would say keep cannabis, F the rest. I honestly would. I don't think it's the devil's lettuce. I don't think it's the worst thing on the planet. There is 100% worse things. Like, as Jason said, all you need to do is go into town on a Saturday night, look at all the people, locked off their head. They've probably done a few lines of coke in the bathroom as well. So, like, it seems fairly clear-cut to me. And it's just another way of taking power out of the drug dealers.
I do agree with taking the power away from the shady characters, right, as Jason mentioned earlier on. But realistically, the shady characters will always find they're going to sell something else anyway. They're going to be selling cocaine and heroin and everything else, so they don't care. You know,
that's illegal, and you can still buy them on the black market.
I know.
I can't think of any healthy properties about coke or heroin. Like,
no, there isn't any. That's why you can't think of any. No, but let's be clear. There's nothing healthy about smoking weed either. Yeah, hold on. From a mental health point of view, it might make you feel good, and that's fine. I can argue the same thing about smoking cigarettes because I smoke cigarettes, right? It takes away stress. But hang on. But no. I'm not going to have anybody come on the air and argue that it's healthy to smoke weed. It isn't.
No, come here. No, you can also take. Sorry, Jessica.
You can eat it. I know.
You can eat it. You can ingest it that way where you're not
make
smoking.
Tea out of it.
So is that healthy? That's healthy? Is that healthy?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I assume it's not too dangerous to be making tea out of it or eating it or whatever it is you do with it. Yeah.
So would it be okay for me then to make tea out of it, drink as much tea as I want, and walk around the road, but as long as I'm not smoking it?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I'm assuming most people don't do that. I'm assuming most people smoke it. Jessica, do you smoke weed?
I used to share joints back in one of the old jobs at the end of the night.
Jeez, Jessica, you're bad enough. Could you imagine what you were like off your head on weed? You're bad enough as it is. Like,
why calm her down now? You stop.
The only thing I felt was, oh, grand, I'm going to sleep tonight when I get home.
Yep.
Honestly, I slept like a baby the few times I had it. It was great. I actually slept well for once in my life.
But this is like an advertisement tonight for weed, you know. No, if I had doctors on tonight, they'd be no. Hang on. If I had people on from the Rutland Centre tonight or other, centres that deal with addiction, they would tell you about people who've come in here whose lives have been destroyed by weed. You know what I mean? And people's lives have been.
Sorry, Niall, is that not down to self-control? The same as about alcohol. I can bring you people on from Coombe Verde that'll tell you how alcohol is destroyed lives.
Absolutely. But then you're making my argument for me. Then why do we want to legalise another drug, another problem?
You can bring doctors on that'll tell you that it's actually not that bad. I mean, you'll always get people professionals come on for and against. People will always have an agenda as well, so you'll always get people for and against. I mean, there's studies out there for fucking everything. You know that yourself by now.
Yeah, but most of the studies do say that it is a gateway drug. Now, I will grant both of you that the reason it's a gateway drug is because you have to deal with the same individuals that are selling the cocaine and the heroin. So while you're buying the weed off them, we're going, hey, do you want a bag of this?
No, they don't. No, sorry, they don't.
That's have addictive personality.
Say that again, Jessica.
When people say it's a gateway drug, I put that down to whether you have an addictive personality or not.
Yeah, yeah. She's right, Niall.
Like I said,
she's right.
Like I said, I've had a few. I'm not addicted to it, but if someone handed me one, I'd say, yeah, no problem. But if someone was to say to me, sniff a line of no snow, I'd be telling them to get lost.
but here's the thing, Jessica. The research, I hate to keep quoting research, but the research shows that the majority of people who drop out of college are doing it because they're smoking weed. Look at the American surveys in relation to this. A lot of so many people who smoke weed are high school dropouts or college dropouts. And, and I remember I used to work with a guy years ago who was constantly smoking it.
I would proudly say on national radio, I dropped out of college twice. And it wasn't because of weed.
Well, no. Okay, fair enough. But I used to work with a guy years ago who was supposed to smoke weed, and he was permanently off his bicky. You know what I mean?
But no, I bet people all the time who smoke weed and they walk all day long.
Yeah, but it has to affect your ability.
It's not necessarily.
Well, put it this way, you couldn't smoke weed in your job.
No, obviously not, because I drive around in the evening time. I can. In the evening time I can.
Yeah.
But I know plenty of people out there now that go to work all day long. They'll have a joint on the way into work.
But I would be horrified or terrified. But people shouldn't be smoking weed in the workplace. They shouldn't be.
Well, you've more people in the workplace on tablets, and on the bottom of most bottles and boxes of tablets it says, "Do not operate heavy machinery." You go into any
or make life-changing decisions.
Or make life-changing decisions. You go into any heavy industry, and you'll find fellas from their kneecaps up to their shoulder blades and painkillers because of the work that they're doing. Their bodies are broke up, but they can't stop working because they have to pay.
I know. Look, it worries me the amount of people on antidepressants, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
As I said, let's start drug testing people.
I know what medication could be like. I remember many years ago, I had a problem on my back, and I was out at a friend's. It was Christmas, and I was in real pain. And this friend of mine says, "Here, I'll give you 2 tablets here." He says, "I get them from my back." He said, "You can have 2 of these." I said, "Oh, thank God." I would have taken Ant at that stage. I would have euthanasia was an option for me at that stage. To be honest, I was in so much pain. But I remember he gave me 2 tablets, and I was driving home. It was Christmas Day, I think, or Christmas Eve. I can't remember. And I was driving home, and I felt like I was piss drunk.
Yeah,
I was terrified. I had to pull the car over and stop and wait for an hour or two. And then I could see a garage up the road there in Pennakill. You know Pennakill and Swords?
Yeah.
I saw the garage, and I drove the extra couple of 100 yards up to the garage and pulled in. And just got, a can of Coke and something else. I can't remember, trying to eat something.
To clear your head.
I felt like I was pissed. And I rang him up and I said, "What did you give me?" He said it was morphine. I said, "What did you give me morphine for?" You know what I mean?
That's the pain was gone out of your back.
It was. Let's stay there because I want to go to Rob. Rob, hi, how are you?
Hello.
How's things, Rob? Rob, do you agree with legalising cannabis?
Do I agree? No. Well, my thoughts on it are like all that stuff should be legalised. All the hard drugs should be legalised anyway.
All the hard stuff? What? The Class A stuff?
Class A's, yeah.
What, cocaine, heroin, everything? Just legalise the lot?
What? Heroin, cocaine, yeah. At least the people be getting clean drugs,
Rob, me and you nearly always agree on things. We're not going to agree tonight.
They're going to be a lot dearer, but a lot cleaner.
Yeah. But why would you want to legalise cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy?
Yeah, but look, the people are buying the stuff anyway.
That's not the point.
Huh?
That's the people are buying guns. We just don't give them all a free one. You know what I mean? That's not the point. Just because people are buying it, it's dangerous to society. It's damaging to society. Why would you want to do that?
What about putting it on the prescription?
What, weed?
Well, to an extent, weed, yeah. It is. it can be used in some medical.
Oh, well, it can. Yeah.
We're doing great work with mushrooms at the moment with people with psychosis and
That's right.
PTSD.
That's because it's psilocybin. It's pure psilocybin.
And MDMA. They're doing work with as well, especially people with PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know. They'll bring out a pharmaceutical version of it at some point. Yeah, sorry, Rob, continue. So, but Rob, I mean, you're saying you shouldn't, you don't know if we should legalise it.
I'd go and legalise some of this stuff. I really would, Niall.
Okay, you would. Okay. And so...
There's too many people using it for it not to be legalised. At least the state would be getting revenue off it.
Oh, it shouldn't be about the money, Rob. I don't care about the money. Well, hang on, Jason. Rob, it shouldn't be about the money. I don't care about the money. You know what I mean? It was like what? We make a couple of billion a year on drugs, but hey, half the country's off their box.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But at least the drugs wouldn't be cut with rat poison and stuff like that. Right? Give the people some kind of a chance.
But we'd see a massive increase. If you legalise drugs tomorrow, we'd see a massive increase in the amount of people that are taking it.
You know.
Huh?
You were talking there about fellas in work there and, having to take weed and stuff like that. I mean, if you were to stop a load of cars here tomorrow and done a drug driving test on every one of those cars, you'd be surprised with the results.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They do them all the time. There's drug checkpoints out there every day, Rob, at the side of every road now, every morning. They're doing them.
Have you ever been tested, Jason?
Yeah, we've been tested in the port loads of times.
And because you had a joint the night before, does that not show up on it?
No.
Okay. How do they test you? Is it with your eyes?
Swab. No, swab.
Oh, because they used to do this thing with the eyes, didn't they, as well? Yeah. But Rob, me and you normally agree on most things. I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a bit taken back by the fact that you would want to see everything being legalised. You know, I can run with the cannabis argument, but I don't know if I can run with everything else.
I thought the cannabis, there was a medical cannabis legalised now. Am I wrong?
Say it again.
Was some parts of the medical grade cannabis made available?
They're under license, yeah. You can get there are some. What's a THC, isn't it? You can get under license in Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that, yeah.
You do know Niall. You do know Ireland is one of the biggest growers for medical cannabis as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of licenses in this country for it.
They must be growing it in Leitrim. Would you look at them? Stay there for a second because I have to go to break. Sorry, Rob, it's a bit difficult to hear your line for some reason. Kathleen, I'll come to you after the break as well. The number is 087 188 0008. That's 087 188. By the way, somebody wants to know, Niall, is this going to become a reality? Absolutely. Look, it's not going to happen in the lifetime of this government, clearly, because they've only got a couple of months to go. But it will happen because they certainly weren't going to do it before an election. But there is numerous different bills out there trying to run through second and third stages in relation to decriminalisation of Class A drugs and legalisation for recreational purposes of cannabis. And it's only a matter of time, I imagine, before it happens. But I want to know if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing for society. Let me know. Stay with me, Jason and Jessica. Let me just go to Kathleen. Kathleen, hi, how are you?
Hello, now.
How are you doing?
Okay, now, I'd like to know, I don't smoke weed myself, but I know it's going, you smell it in town and so forth, right?
Yeah.
If it's so natural now, how does it smell so absolutely disgusting? You can smell it.
But that's a matter of opinion, isn't it? That's a matter of opinion.
And if it's so fucking good, well, why?
Different types of flowers and they smell horrible.
Oh, no, not like weed. No, the smell is absolutely putrid. And if it was natural, then I just don't get how it could, you know.
To me, it smells like sweat. To me, it smells like just a bunch of sweat. So
you're right, actually, it does, yeah.
I'm sorry,
it's
but
not the
I
worst
just...
smelling thing in the world in town. I mean,
I'm sorry.
I'd rather smell urine. I'd rather smell weed than urine.
No, well, I'd rather smell neither, really, being honest with you. But
Actually,
I'm
Jessica's
only
described it well. It does actually smell like body odor, is what it smells like.
You know, it's so natural. You know,
But Kathleen, there's a lot of things in this world that are natural that smell pretty bad. You only have to look in your own bathroom when you're finished. So I wouldn't take that away from it. But Kathleen, do you think it would be damaging to society to legalise it?
Yeah, no, because I don't think so now, because if a young person, say 14, 15, they do smoke it now. I'm quite aware, but they're ruining their education. They don't want to get up out of bed, go to school. I've had the experience myself, and, you know, not for me, but, you know, they don't want to do anything, and it knocks them back to me. I'm sorry. And I think there is paranoia, and I would have known somebody many moons ago that was paranoid and smoked it for donkey's years. But if they want to legalise it, but I tell you one thing now, they should never ever legalise hard drugs, because only look at the families here or around the place where the kids are coming in with very bad drug addiction. You know, look what it does in the family home, you know. Maybe I'm just a bit too, maybe I'm just old school now, but I've just what I've seen in my own lifetime now, you know.
Yeah, no, I know. I look, it can be damaging to some people, but I suppose Jason will probably argue so can alcohol, so can many different things be damaging to people. Gambling is damaging. You know, some people just take an addiction too far. And that's always going to be the case. You know what I mean? It's not, that's probably not.
You make choices in life, though, don't you? But I mean, you know, sometimes we all make bad choices in life. None of it is perfect, so we might have tried it.
Yeah.
Or seen what's wrong, you know, but I just don't think, I mean, I know it's I think they will legalise it, you know.
They will.
Personally, that's the only thing I have that I think it upsets the mentality of people that smoke it and the smell of it. And you know, that's, I'm sorry if that lady doesn't agree with me, but that's my opinion anyway now.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, I have to say, Kathleen makes some good points there. It has damaged a lot of families, weed. Well, mainly, I suppose, because of what people owe dealers is probably the biggest problem, isn't it?
But, I mean, the damage is done because of the turf wars. The damage is done because of the...
Well, it is done to the individual too. I mean, there
there
are individuals who are bright young people who go down a very rocky road and they smoke too much of it, and, you know, they're off their box all the time. Yeah,
and there's other people out there it doesn't. There's people out there that pick up their first pint, they're grand, and then 6 months later they're full-blown alcoholic. They're destroying their lives as well. I mean, people have choices. I mean, we're living in a liberal world. This is just the last of the liberal things to go. It's just a matter of time in this country. We see the way this country's going anyway. I mean, we're living in a world now where people have got choices now. People don't want to be told what to do now by governments. I mean, look at the world we're living in now. The world is changing. The world's on the move. We all know that. Different cultures embrace their weird. Are we going to stop them when they come over and say, no, you can't live your culture? We're not allowed to do that anymore now.
Stay there for a second. Dave, hi, how are you?
What's the crack?
What's the crack, Dave? Dave, you know, we talked there 2 weeks ago about the decriminalisation or health-based approach to Class A drugs, and everybody kind of said, well, let's leave cannabis aside and talk about the other ones. So let's not leave cannabis aside tonight. Should we legalise it for recreational purposes?
I mean, it's probably going to happen eventually anyway, isn't it? Because we're seeing a global shift anyway. Like, even when you talk about drugs, people are like, whatever about weed. You know, nobody really gives a shit about it, you know. So I can kind of see it happening eventually. I definitely see it happening within my lifetime anyway, you know. And even like
I can see it happening within the next 2 years. I would imagine within the next 2 years in Ireland.
Yeah, and there are pros and cons. I mean, some of the pros to it as well is, like, you know, if you smoke pot and you're just buying it off, you know, your friendly neighborhood dealer or whatever, you don't really know what you're getting. You might get something that's nice and mellow and suits you down to the ground, and then the next week you could get something that's ridiculously strong and you can't handle it. So in the one sense, if it is legalized, it is regulated, you might have less people smoking pot and then get really paranoid and it having a detrimental effect on their mental health, because they'll be able to go, oh, I like this one here, this isn't too nutty. You know, so there's that.
Why? Pardon my ignorance, but is there different types?
There is a plethora.
Well, okay. Well, help me out. Help me out to understand here, because my ignorance knows no bounds.
Right.
So no. Let me go back in time when I was 19 years of age. Right, mates of mine and myself at one stage had a 5-spot of this stuff that looked like an OXO cube.
5-spot, 9-year-old.
Right. Okay, it looked like an OXO cube. It was kind of like
it was dirt and probably soaked in diesel as well. No, but
so what was that? That was hash. What's hash?
That was hash, right?
Okay, so what is hash?
Right, good hash. So hash is basically the oil that's been compressed into a brick. And good hash can be nice. But the thing is, one of the reasons there's been such an uptick in younger people with mental health problems due to smoking cannabis is because they're smoking cannabis that's like, it's like skunk or super skunk, which is like the lights are left on all the time, which basically it makes the plant produce more THC, which is the psychoactive chemical in it that gets you high. When there's too much THC, you could be talking 70-80% THC, as opposed to what the hippies in Woodstock were smoking was like 20% THC. So that's the stuff right there that's causing the problems, mental health.
So that causes the psychosis and all these other things.
That's what's causing it, because it's too strong, because the psychoactive ingredient in it is way too powerful. So you can get more mellow strains, you can get edibles, you can get lollipops, you can get drinks.
Lollipops.
Look, if we're talking from a pure greed point of view here, there's a fucking ridiculous amount of money to be made in it. There's a serious.
Yeah, but I don't think we should be thinking about that. That's not an aspect that I think the Irish economy we should benefit from it. I don't agree with the Irish economy benefiting from something that could just damage society. So let's not look at that aspect of it.
Well, we already have cigarettes and alcohol.
I know. And as I said to Jason, that's not a reason to legalise it. Just because we've got one bad drug in the country already is not a reason to legalise another one.
Probably the safest out of a lot of them.
Well, maybe.
We see regulation is probably the one that's... Look, the reason most people who are for it tout regulation stuff is because they're potheads and they want to be able to buy their weed legally, right? That's basically it. You know what I mean? Let's go through all the bullshit here. But at the same time, regulation is also, a massive thing, because for a while there, people were buying weed and it was laced with fiberglass. The reason they were spraying it with fiberglass was because it makes it heavier. It's sold by its weight. So you're taking that out of the market. You are also is a massive kick in the balls to the drug gangs as well, because I'd imagine most of their empires begin with weed and you start with the bigger stuff. So you are damaging that as well. I mean, there are the mental health effects, but they found, I was reading something, I think it was from Colorado or somewhere in America, and they found once it was legalized, the amount of teenagers smoking it actually went down because it was less taboo. Do you get where I'm coming from? Yeah. It was like, well, it's not illegal anymore. It's not a thing that can't be done. So
I don't know. I don't know where that came from, that piece of research that you said there. But I guarantee you, if it's legalised, the amount of users will go up. There's no doubt about it. It will go up. Because as much as the law is a bit of an ass, right? No, I think the law does prevent some people from chancing their arm.
It doesn't. It doesn't. You could get a bag of weed easier than you get a fucking Chinese. You have to wait for your Chinese to open. That's nonsense. I'd imagine it would probably stay the same. Maybe go up a little bit.
Do you smoke it, Dave? Do you smoke it?
Used to. Once upon a time.
Okay.
I
think everybody's probably tried it once, I imagine.
No. Jeez, I used to. Regularly enough. Yeah, but in with the same frequency as I'd have a few pints.
Yeah, well, hang on. Let me just bring Nadine into the conversation here too. Nadine, hi. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Nadine, you've heard Dave there. Everybody's giving me reasons tonight as to why we should legalise it. Is there any way we shouldn't?
No, I think we should, because it's so good for our mental health, and has so many, there's pros and cons in everything. So why look at the bad side when...
Well, you have to look at the bad side too. When you're thinking about legalising something, you have to look at the cons too, don't you?
Yeah, but there's 102 good things about it.
102? That's quite a specific number. It's a very specific number.
It's
the last two that are really the kicker, aren't they? But I can also think of 102, maybe even 103 reasons why we shouldn't, Nadine.
Naming them.
Well,
personally, I have BPD, so I'd have bad mood swings. I'd go in a real deep pit. What's the point of me taking 20 tablets a day, trying to balance that out when I could literally have a joint and like relax.
And so what does it do for you? Like what do you're smoking cannabis, which is the plant, yeah? You're smoking cannabis, yeah, okay. So you roll it up and smoke it, I assume, yeah?
Yeah, and like no mood swings, I'm grand, I can sleep through the night, no stress. So there is cons to it.
And do you work as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and does it affect your work? Like, would you be off your bicky the next morning, or would you be in work and what is Jesus Christ? I'm only asking her. would you have a quick joint during lunch break during the day, like?
No. I'd only have it like when it's really bad.
Okay. And how many joints a week would you smoke? Would you smoke every day?
No.
Okay.
Probably like twice a week.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're not spending much money on it.
Not really.
Okay, because I have no idea how much it costs. So how much does it cost you? So kind of per month, how much would it cost you?
So I've got like a 50.
Okay.
That would be €50.
Okay, €50 for a month. That'll do you for the month, would it?
For a week.
Oh, for a week?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. God, it's expensive enough, isn't it? What? How much is?
How much you spend on cigarettes a week, Dial?
How much? Okay, let's not move. Let's not go down that road.
Yeah.
Much does you spend on alcohol?
I don't drink, so I don't spend anything on alcohol.
No, but you know what I mean, Noel. So, I mean, each to their own. As I said before, you ask one person how much did he spend on drink, ask the next person. They both spend different. Everybody has different consumptions.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at how much I'm spending on like medication, that's way more. Yeah, so that's...
And they'll constantly keep you hooked on that. They will constantly keep you. They have no interest in curing you from whatever's wrong with you with them tablets.
Well, tablets don't cure anything, generally speaking.
No,
And doctors, no, there's no secret behind that, by the way. Doctors will tell you that 99% of tablets don't cure anything. All they do is alleviate symptoms. Okay, that's all they're designed to do, most of them, to be honest with you. But Nadine, just getting back to have you done any other drugs? Have you done LSD, ecstasy, anything else? So it's just the weed?
No. Just weed.
Okay, what do you say to people who say, well, it's a bit of a gateway drug? It kind of leads to people trying other things.
Well, that's the person. Every person is different. There's people that could become alcoholics. There's people that could become drug dealers.
So that's a personal thing, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hang on, both of you. Sharon, I just want to bring you in as well before we finish. Sharon, you think it's a gateway drug and you think it's a bad idea?
Yeah, I do. I think anything that's substance, whether it's drink or drugs, you can relax yourself. You don't need those flipping things.
Well, in fairness to Nadine, she said she's in great pain.
Oh, in pain?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I agree with it for medicinal use.
Well, no, but in fairness, she is smoking it. Now, for medicinal use, normally you take it in tablet form, but she is smoking it, smoking her brains out.
Yeah, if you're in pain, I can kind of understand that because it is supposed to really help with pain. All right.
Yeah. So who decides then? So what, do we give Nadine prescriptions for it? Is that would you agree with that aspect of it maybe then?
Yeah, for severe pain, yeah, because I do know one or two people actually that I think are on it for pain and they find it very effective.
But is it that bad for society? Because I'm hearing from Jason and Dave and Nadine and nearly everybody tonight that, hey, it's not such a big deal. Like it's not a problem. It's it's not as dangerous as alcohol.
Look, my sister lives in the States. She was smoking weed for years and she had a personality disorder. She was eating all kinds of crap and she was very, how would you put it, sensitive. They say it makes people paranoid and she was definitely paranoid. Was she the type of person who would have been paranoid anyway, even without the weed? Would she have had the personality disorder without the weed? No, she just... Okay. It just changed her kind of,
See, Dave, there's the problem, isn't it, Dave? It does cause... But this idea that it doesn't cause problems, it does cause problems. And I've seen people with those problems.
I've never said it doesn't cause problems. It's in the same way if you crack open a can or a naggin first thing in the morning and you drink all the time, it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, but we can't. Yeah, but that's already legal. There's nothing we can do about that. That's already legal.
I know, but there's a certain percentage of people out there who are just genetically predisposed to mental illness, and it might not manifest itself in their entire life. And alcohol or drugs may make it manifest, but those same people, a bad breakup could do the same thing as well. I'm not saying it doesn't cause problems. Of course it causes problems. Any substance you take into your body has the potentiality to cause problems. All I'm saying is it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, I understand what Sharon is saying about Nadine. And yeah, well and good, it does. And I know the evidence is there that it helps with pain relief and all that kind of stuff, right? But this idea of legalising for recreational purposes, I don't see that being a win-win. I agree with Sharon. I don't think it's a win-win situation for anybody.
Yeah, but listen, legalize it. Look at what happened in America, okay? Legalising it for medicinal purposes is only one step away. It's soft legalization for recreational purposes, because there's people like, oh God, my back.
I'm suffering from depression. I need it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I stubbed my toe this morning. You know what I mean? So,
well, to be honest with you now, like, I have a pain condition called fibromyalgia, and I'm considering, God, maybe I should look into getting it for that, because, like, I live with it.
You're definitely the kind of person that would genuinely benefit from it. Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. And then we poor Sharon now. She'll get off the air and she'll be addicted to cannabis. Stop. See what you've done. Nadine, this is your fault. Sharon, have you ever smoked weed? Ever in your life?
Oh, I took a puff once, but to be honest with you, I'm a fucking scaredy cat, you know. I was always afraid that I'd get addicted to something, because there was addiction in my family, like with my mom, you know. It was alcohol with her. But I just think that people, you know, we tend to use things as a crutch, and it can just take over. And I think we were also this big lie that, oh, these things help you relax, they help you. You can find that within yourself, and it's a much better way to be, you know, to have your peace and nothing pulling at you, you know.
Are you going to have your joint before you go to bed tonight, Nadine?
No, sadly I'm up early.
All right, okay. Listen, Dave and Jason, thank you very much indeed. Nadine, thank you, and I hope, by the way, your pain goes away. All right, thanks, and thank you.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk with Niall Boylan.
Ireland's Classic Hits Radio.